We are live. This is Emil Fisher. With me today is the inimitable and terrifying Kyle Boehm. How you doing, Kyle?
Doing well. How are you?
Had better months, you know. How's the situation out where you are? I know are you in Arizona?
I'm in Southern California right now.
Okay.
I'm just driving back from a friend's house.
Gotcha. So, I know that you were helping your teammate Vinny get ready for his Mission Underground match. I don't know if you saw the match, but it was.
I did see the.
I mean, I'm maintaining that Vinny tripped on the mat and tweaked his ankle tripping on the mat, and the leg lock didn't work. I'm maintaining that. You with me, Kyle? Kyle, you're breaking up. Hello? Kyle seems to be on the road, so he's quality with connection. Oh, there you are. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, I think you lost me for about 10 seconds there.
Yeah, I did. Seems to be that there's an issue with the connection. Do you have good reception where you are?
I'm pulling over.
So, for anyone that doesn't know, while Kyle gets situated, I'm going to give a little bit of an intro. That's okay, Kyle. Kyle is a 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Really, I think his breakthrough performance was at the King of the Mat here in Cleveland. There was a tournament here in Cleveland that Kyle did where he beat several very, very well-known, well-respected competitors, including Dante Leone, Tex Johnson, and multiple others. So Kyle, and ever since then, I think Kyle's just been killing it, absolutely killing it. He won the BJJ Fanatics Invitational, beating some of the best guys in the sport, and just recently won a tag team match against Craig Jones and Nicky Rod with his teammate Vinny, who two of those competed tonight. Did you watch the rest of the event, Kyle?
I saw 3 matches.
Your audio. I need you to do something. I don't know if you're covering the microphone.
You hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay, I was probably covering it.
Yeah, it's fine. So you were saying?
I started watching right before Gabriel Checo finished that triangle. So okay. I saw from there on till the end.
All right. And I know you trained with Gabriel, right? You were training with Gabriel in preparation for this.
Yes.
And you trained with Vinny in preparation for this. And I know that Boogie is your teammate.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of the Boogie match? I thought that was an interesting match.
I sort of expected how the regulation went for Vanderford to be more playing that on 2 knees and sort of disengage type of game. And because of that, I didn't think that it was that out of the question that he could take Boogie to overtime. But then when he finished the arm triangle, I was pretty surprised. I was very surprised by that.
So I had a feeling. I felt like. What's that?
I said that. Yeah, that was a really good win for Austin.
Yeah, I felt like Boogie seemed to be having a hard time pulling the trigger. He got to that initial kind of like omoplata, armbar type of thing at the very beginning with that. I don't know if you guys call it the meat hook or whatever it is with the leg over. And that was pretty fucking sweet, but he wasn't able to really capitalize on that. And then from there, his opponent seemed leery of engaging with him.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think that 5 minutes is too short, to be honest.
I agree with you. I really agree with you. So when you did the tag team match, was there anything that surprised you about that setting?
About just the match in general? I didn't quite hear the end.
No, I mean about the submission underground setting, rule set. I don't know if you've grappled in a cage before. I hear it's different.
Yeah, I have before. And then I fought MMA as an amateur before, so I've competed in a cage and trained in a cage quite a bit. So it wasn't too different. And for me, I didn't even really have to deal with the cage because I was only in the overtime period for that match, so it didn't make a difference at all.
Yeah, I mean, I know because you're 10th Planet, you focus a ton on overtime.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge focus in 10th Planet. Do you think that 10th Planet competitors have an innate advantage in that rule set? You're covering the mic again.
Whoops. Yes, for sure they do. For sure they do because they're getting more repetition there.
Now, you just recently started kind of breaking through in the past maybe year and a half. Before that, you were competing at high-profile events, but you weren't enjoying the kinds of success that you're enjoying now. What do you think was the major difference for you before and now?
Just experience and mat time.
Experience in mat time? So I know that you had a knee injury, and after you came back from the knee injury, you kind of went on a tear. Was the time during the rehabbing from that, was that a big deal for you?
Yeah.
You cover the mic again.
Off the mat in terms of no life training from October.
Hey, Kyle?
Yeah, I got you. From October probably until April, like early April, where I started doing some drilling with people again. But I didn't, and I was doing a couple positional live goes at that point. But yeah, in terms of actual live rolling, I was out for about 6 months.
Gotcha. Now, during that time, what did you do to kind of stay in the game mentally?
Watched a lot of video. Mainly my focus on at that point was physical therapy and rehab. So I was doing my physical therapy workouts with the same type of focus that I was doing my jiu-jitsu workouts before the injuries.
Gotcha.
So it kind of just went from being a jiu-jitsu competitor to being somebody who's trying to get to a point where I can do live training again. So the goals were just different, but you still had to approach it with a good, effective game plan.
Right.
But in terms of staying involved in jiu-jitsu, I just watched as much video as I could. And when I was able to actually get out and drive again, I would go and sit in on practices.
Yeah. So when you were watching when you were watching practices and when you were watching tape, what were you focusing on? Like, was there a lot of visualization? Was it you were mapping the submission streams? What were you focusing on? I know that a lot of people in your get injured and that's it for them. For you, you got injured, and then after you got injured, your career skyrocketed.
I was watching people and just trying to determine what I would do in their position.
Mm-hmm.
So I would watch the higher level guys spar and be like, oh, okay, what would be a good option or a couple good options in that position, and just try to stay mentally engaged with the game as much as I could, since I couldn't be physically engaged with it. And unfortunately, I have a grappling dummy as well, so.
Wait, we got somebody just popped
in.
I would
Kyle.
use that as soon as I was able to actually.
What is this? What is this?
Get that out of here.
Hello, Kyle. What are you doing? You think you're gonna fucking ruin my life? LeBron James, motherfucker. You understand? You better go tell your black belt. You better go tell your black belt some shit, okay? You better go tell your black belt. Better go tell your black belt what's up.
I'll see you later, Anthony.
Fuck you guys.
Fuck you too. Sorry, he kept when I told him you were going to be on. Kyle,
Did he
you're
leave?
covering the mic again.
No, I'm not. I really wasn't that time.
Okay, I don't know. It was like when you cover the mic, it makes a certain sound and it echoes. So I don't know. It's weird. Anyways,
Maybe I was.
what's that?
Never mind.
Okay. Yeah. So as a competitor and like as you've grown in your competitive career, it seems like your focus has been to truly control from the back, get to the back and control from there. I mean, you're willing to go for leg locks. You finished Joao Rocha with a leg lock, but you seem to really be focused, have a very back-centered game. Do you think that has that changed? Is that something that has changed as you've grown, or is it something you've just improved upon?
It's just been improved upon. The back's been my best position the entire time I've been doing jiu-jitsu.
Gotcha. And I know that you, when we, I don't know if you told me or if I read somewhere that you were a climber. You are a climber. How important has that
What was
been?
the second part?
Climbing.
Yes. Yeah, I rock climb my whole life.
So how has that affected your jiu-jitsu? I know that like I watched the movie Free Solo and it sounded like a jiu-jitsu guy talking about jiu-jitsu. So I mean,
yeah,
relate
I
a
think
little
it's
bit of that.
probably affected it immensely, in ways that I probably don't fully even understand, and then other ways that I can kind of conceptualize, like obviously the physical part of it, grip strength, core strength, weight distribution, but also just the problem solving aspect of it. I'm sure has helped me in a bunch of sort of in a bunch of ways that I'm probably not even aware of.
Have you seen that movie, Free Solo?
Yeah, it's a great movie. Alex Honnold is incredible.
You know who told me about it? Quentin Rosenzweig.
Oh, nice.
He probably.
That's
I mean, it's
boy.
one of those things. When he told me that, he's like, dude, climbing is jujitsu. Jujitsu is climbing. It's just the way grip placement. What's that?
There's definitely I've heard that from other black belts. Like, do you know who Nick Gregoriades is?
From the Jiu-Jitsu Brotherhood?
Yes. He was Hadra Gracie's first black belt.
Mm-hmm.
But he wrote this book that I read when I was, I think, either a white belt or a blue belt, called The Black Belt Blueprint. And in that, he said that in terms of pure strength that's directly translatable to better jiu-jitsu, he hadn't found anything on par with climbing. So for whatever that's worth.
One thing that's interesting, I don't know if you've ever gotten a chance to train with somebody that had a background in driving race cars, but
no.
I once got to train with a race car driver, and his grip strength, core strength, yeah, reaction time.
That makes total sense. Because think about, they're holding those grips for like 4 fucking hours, and they're constantly having to turn and maneuver. Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Now, what's up next for you? Like, I know you had a match that was scheduled with Gordon Ryan that seems probably to have fallen through. Do you have anything on the horizon?
Yeah, I'm trying to get on the next Submission Underground card. Hopefully against Craig Jones.
That would be an interesting matchup.
To them and asked if I could get that match, so we'll see what Craig says.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be an interesting matchup, I think, because of the fact that you've been leg locking a lot of people lately, and Craig leg locks people. But I feel like
he does.
As far as being physically imposing, you're going to be more physically imposing against Craig than Vinny tried to be tonight. What do you think the major
interesting match?
Yeah. What do you think the major error was that led to Vinny losing the match?
feel like maybe he let him get too deep, obviously, but I mean, letting him get his entry, well, not necessarily. I don't even know if he let him get it. Probably not, but the entry's the hardest part. Maybe he needed to maybe be a little less lackadaisical.
I mean, leg locks don't work, so there's that.
Hey, yeah, that's it's been disproven.
I don't know. I'm still, like I said, I'm still maintaining that, it was just there was a gap in the mat. He tripped on it. It wasn't a leg lock that tapped him.
Yeah, man.
So what's your training philosophy these days? What are you doing in training? Are you focusing mostly on situational rolling, drilling? What is your focus? Like, how do you mix it up in the training room?
Lately, it's been a heavy focus on wrestling.
Okay, go on.
But that's just been for the past 3 weeks or so. Before that, I had a heavy focus on defense and was letting people get to all sorts of finishing positions against me and trying to work my way out from there for a while. For months, I was doing that for like maybe the past 2.5 or 3 months. So that was a big focus, was defense.
Now, do you find that, like, I've heard a lot of people talking about rolling, how do you choose your training partners? Some people like to roll with people that are of lesser skill and rank in order to work their attacks, whereas other people like to focus on training people a lot better than them. What are your focuses in training as far as how do you choose your training partner?
Yeah, 80 to 90% blue belts, athletic blue belts. That's the ideal for me for the majority of time that I'm training. Until it gets to the last 2 weeks.
Kyle, I think you're covering the mic again.
Oh, shit, my bad. So before it gets to the last 2 weeks, I'll be rolling with about, if I roll 10 rounds in the day, 8 or 9 of them will be with athletic blue belts, so I can work on my new techniques, my new things that I'm trying to implement. Unless it's within the last 2 weeks before I compete, in which case I'll start rolling more with the higher level guys.
Do you find that the higher level guys are safer or more dangerous to roll with?
Generally safer.
That's kind of my experience as well. Blue belts get excited if they catch you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Where are you doing
they're
most
not going to let go.
Yeah. Where are you doing if you're where are you doing your training these days?
Well,
Or rather,
I was just out in Vegas. I was just out in Vegas at an undisclosed location, and was training out there with Gabriel Checo and Vinny.
Yeah.
So I was getting some good 1 and 2 a days in every day, which felt nice. And there wasn't really anything else to do in Vegas besides train because it was a total ghost town, which was actually pretty cool walking around downtown Vegas when it was empty like that.
I believe it. I believe it. Now, what are your thoughts about? I've seen your posts on the social media grams about it. What are your thoughts about coming back from COVID-19? What are your thoughts about Jiu-Jitsu coming back from it? What do you think is the timeline? What do you think is the going to be the long term?
I think it should be left at the discretion of the states, and then it should be within the states. The governor should leave it at the discretion of the mayors. So localize, do it on a local level.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think so. I think that it should be at the local level. I also think that jiu-jitsu is going to be difficult to bring back in full swing. I think it's going to take a while, if I had to guess. I don't want that to be the case.
I would say that's probably a pretty safe guess for most of the country.
It's unfortunate. Do you think that that's going to affect your ability to train long term?
No, I won't let it affect that.
Good. Now, other than your desired upcoming match with Craig at Submission Underground, what else are you looking for?
I would love to get that Gordon match back. If he wants to do it in no time limit, that's fine.
That would be a
have to do
fantastic
EBI
match. I
rules.
mean, what's that?
Yeah. We don't have to do it in EBI rules. We can do it in no time limit.
What rule set do you prefer, EBI rules or no time limit? If you were given your choice.
It's kind of a difficult question because I have a higher probability of beating him in EBI rules, but no time limit is, in my opinion, just a better rule set. So I would prefer no time limit.
Yeah. What do you think of the switch from the original EBI format to combat jiu-jitsu?
I liked it. I know it didn't. Some people had a problem with it, but I really liked it. I like combat jiu-jitsu. I just don't see what the problem is. It's really not that much different.
I mean, palm strikes are tough sometimes.
Yeah. I wish they would do up kicks though.
You like the idea?
Really, I just think that the bottom player needs to have some type of striking weapon, since the top player has one.
I mean, you theoretically palm strike from your back. Theoretically.
Yeah, but are you really going to throw strikes off your back? I mean, unless you're in rubber guard.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, on the same token, if somebody's inside the closed guard and they're throwing palm strikes inside the closed guard, they're more likely to get triangled or armbarred.
Yeah, that's true. Closed guard in jiu-jitsu is pretty much totally defensive.
On the top, right?
I wouldn't hang out there, even in combat jiu-jitsu, unless I thought I was going to finish him with strikes. But, I mean, you could strike to open up his guard, I guess. Yeah.
For sure. For sure. And do you have any plans for putting out any instructional material in the near future?
Yeah, I would love to do a leg locks DVD. I haven't done that yet. They had me start off with Kimura, and then I did defense and escapes. So it'd be cool to do a leg locks one.
So what do you think of the leg lock meta? How it's kind of it started out that it was really the Danaher Death Squad that was leading the charge, but it seems to be tempering itself more and more. What do you think has been? How do you think it has changed the leg lock meta? How do you think it's changed over the last couple of years?
I think their top guys started focusing on other things. Like Gary was doing MMA, and Gordon was coming up on top and passing more and doing more of a 80cc style type of game. So they weren't as focused on leg locks anymore, which allowed like some of the up and comer guys to move into those stop positions in terms of who's getting the most leg lock finishes right now.
What do you think is going to be the next big meta in the next maybe year or two?
Seems like it's wrestling.
Yeah.
But I think it just depends on the rule set. You know, it's like, where's the most money to be made? So that's going to draw, like, obviously the top competitors. But well, then, of course, there's the prestige behind winning Abu Dhabi as well is going to make you a bunch of money. So most people will be focused on that rule set. It seems like most of the top guys year round, when they're doing no-gi, will be focused on that submission wrestling style rules.
It would appear that the majority of the money to be made is actually in that EBI style rule set. You know, most of the $2,000 plus tournaments that I've seen are that rule set or similar, some sort of amalgamation.
Yeah. If you're just looking at the prize money, for sure, it seems that that's been the most lucrative rule set for a while.
Do you think that's going to change?
I think the most money is going to be made in the most entertaining rule set for people that don't know what jiu-jitsu is, so that they can reach an audience outside of just the jiu-jitsu community.
What do you
So
think?
I don't necessarily see it changing.
Yeah.
But there's other shows that are doing cool rule sets as well. You know, Polaris, I like their rule set with the rounds. That's cool. And I don't mind like the decision as long as it's based on who's being the aggressor, who's attacking. You know, fight to win's cool. So
Yeah, but you
they
gotta
do a
figure
really good job.
Yeah, Polaris, Fight to Win, all of those are essentially sub-only style rule sets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Unless like, I mean, you can still win with a guard pass or a sweep. You could win with a takedown. But
You can
I
win.
think, yeah, obviously they're pushing for people to finish. So, and you get bonuses for finishing. So it's always good to incentivize that.
You can win with those things, but the reality is that if the other person's hunting for submissions, you can take them down all you want. If every time you take me down, I have a guillotine on you, and then you finish the takedown, we disengage, you take me down again, guillotine again, and the match ends, the person going for the guillotine is going to win over the guy that's going for the takedown in those rule sets.
Yeah. Yeah, they should.
So, I mean, I think that even in that case, it's the sub only. And to that end, I don't know if wrestling is going to be the next meta.
Yeah, that's a good argument. Is it worth it though? It's like for some people like Cobrina who just focuses on that 80cc rule set. I think he's just making a good living with just that. So I think people that are already focused on point style may stay strictly with points, and people that are more focused on sub only may stay with that. But who knows?
Gotcha. For sure. Now, you
What
have
do you
a
think is going to be the
background.
next meta?
What's that?
What do you think is going to be the next meta?
I think that we're going to see an increase in lower body to upper body transitions. Sort of like taking the back off the leg entanglements, things like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I see that as being more likely.
As a result of the leg lock boom, there has to be a counter to it now.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I know that you have a background in journalism. Are you putting that to use these days at all? Are you writing for anybody?
No, I'm not currently writing for anybody. Although I definitely would like to. Just haven't actively been seeking it out.
Gotcha. Well, we've been talking for about half an hour. I'm checking out the comment sections here, seeing if anybody has any questions for you or anything at all that they're looking to answer. What do you have going on that you want to talk about?
Not a whole lot, man. I've just been driving around today. I was just hanging out with a friend earlier.
You cover the mic again.
Whoops, sorry. Where are you located?
I'm in Cleveland, Ohio.
And everything's shut down there?
Yeah, I mean, my company is still open because we're an essential business. We do specialized coatings on cutting tools and on other components. Like we do tool and die work. We do specialized gaskets that go into exhaust manifolds. We do all sorts of stuff like that. We put a hard plating on them.
Are you a metallurgist?
I'm not. I'm actually, my degree is in English and rhetoric, but it's
that's right. Okay, you're a writer.
Yeah, but it's my family's company. So I grew
What
up
do
in
you
it.
think about the What do you think about the COVID-19 rhetoric?
The COVID-19 rhetoric. I think the COVID-19
I'm
is
just
killing.
kidding.
I think it's killing people. I don't think it's as bad as the media has made it out to be. And I don't know what the motivations are behind that. I mean, it's that simple. I try to stay away from thinking too much about it because it makes me angry.
Yeah, man, I hear you. It's like unless people are actually ready to get up and revolt,
Cover the mic again.
it's hard to think about it and not get pissed off. So it's probably best not to think about it until it's time to actually do something.
Yeah. I try to not focus on things over which I have no power.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm paying attention to who's saying what and which politicians are doing what, and it's going to influence my voting in the next cycle. But other than that, we're fucked.
Yeah, man.
I'm pushing the Vermin Supreme party, man. Vermin Supreme for president.
It sounds familiar. What's his political platform again?
Free ponies, gingivitis control.
What was the second one?
Gingivitis control.
Perfect. And that's it?
That's pretty much it, yeah.
Dude, that's all we need. Like, the free ponies could be covered with what, a couple billion?
Yeah.
Probably more than that. Probably like 35 billion. We could do
It
that.
depends on where we get the free ponies from. Huh?
That's the $1 million question, my friend.
Well, billion-dollar question.
Yeah, it's going to be expensive, but I think it'll be less expensive than our current government expenditure. So if we just shut down everything else and do the free ponies, I think we'll be all right.
I agree. I absolutely agree. And that's the platform I've been pushing because, quite frankly, I feel like that makes as much sense as anything else going on in government right
now. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah. So, anything else you wanted to talk about, or any shout outs you wanted to give out?
Did they give you guys any type of timeline out there?
So they're talking about doing the quote unquote first phase opening May 1st. May 1st. And they haven't disclosed what they're going to be opening precisely. So who the fuck knows what that means?
But they haven't even given a date in terms of when this phase one would begin.
May 1st.
May 1st.
May 1st.
That's coming up.
Yeah. My hope is that they
know what they're going to open.
I have no idea. My hope is that they at the very least open the gyms back up.
Yeah.
They opened the gyms back up.
Gyms were. Yeah, and they didn't really specify. They just said open the gyms. So, Jiu-Jitsu is a gym as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, so it's tricky. So there's a finite probability that you or I or somebody else is going to get COVID-19, right? Like there's a finite probability it's going to happen. It's a low probability, but there is a probability that exists. And the question becomes, at what point is the risk too high? I don't know. I don't have an answer for it.
Yeah, I generally just try to look at it from a utilitarian point of view and try to do like suppositions in terms of how bad it's going to get economically for people, in terms of job loss and suicides that are related to job loss. And yeah, when you look at 26 million unemployed, it's kind of not the most difficult. It seems like
it's interesting.
One death for every 4,000 careers lost.
Yeah. It's awful. I got a text message from a friend of mine the other day who runs some jiu-jitsu events, and I mean, he told me, he's like, dude, seven of my friends have killed themselves. That's what he said to me.
Jesus.
And I'm like,
Where's he
what?
from?
Indiana. You know,
Makes
kind of
sense.
like
I lived in Indiana for 3 years.
blue collar area. The reality is that for those people, their job is their life.
Yeah.
You lose your job, it can fuck everything up.
What are we gonna do, Emil?
I don't know. I have no idea, man. I have no idea. We do our best. I keep saying this. We do our best. That's all we can do. Do our best to not be shitty humans.
For sure. I didn't see what happened. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say thank you so much for coming on, man. You know, really.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, man.
What were you gonna say before I cut you off?
Sorry, if I was a little spacey, I smoked a bunch of weed before I came on.
Well, that's good. Good.
But
all right.
Well, chatting with you.
Thanks, man. I'll have to have you back on soon.
Sounds good, brother.
All right. Have a good night.
You as well.
Bye.